welcome back to Hachioji live in Japan for the continuation of this Women's Combined World Championship here in 2019. 4 boulders for the climbers to attempt, starting on the left, moving over to the right. Charlie Bosco and Mike Langley here to talk you through it. Mike, we've just been up on stage and had a look at the boulders. Tough set of boulders, we think could provide quite a challenge to some of the climbers for whom this isn't their strongest discipline.
Yeah, definitely. But the job has to be done here for the route setters. We've got to get down to our 8 for tomorrow. Starts on the left-hand side. That's boulder number 1 with the red and grey volumes working its way 2, 3, and 4, left to right. Boulder number 1, really physical in the steepest section of the wall here in Hachioji. Toe hooks into some really physical upside-down climbing, moving down the wall. A double dyno on the second boulder. It's some really funky bridging, really testing the climbers in all different types of way, route reading, style, toe hooks, all a bit funky. You can just see that on the slabby section of the wall there. Big hanging slab is the feature in the middle of the wall here. Moving down, further down, you've got a classic bit of slab climbing in the middle of the wall, big mantle to start, and a really awkward section in the middle of the wall. It's going to be frills and spills up there, I think, before moving on to 2, which is more of a coordination set of moves between 4 very similar holes. Big fat pinches, bit of coordination, bit of timing, and a lot of power. It's going to be a really interesting show. Yeah, you can see those big pinchy volumes, awkward starting position, but really, really physical. The true modern boulder to finish.
Yeah, it's been very difficult for the route setters to know exactly how to judge it. You've got some climbers who will not be vastly experienced boulderers. Remember, all the climbers here had to participate in all 3 disciplines in the main World Championships, so they're good boulderers by any real standard. But by World Cup, World Championship standard, they're not specialist boulderers at all. Do they pitch the level at them? But then it'd be too easy for Janja Garnbret. Do they pitch it at Janja Garnbret and co? And then mean that some of the climbers can't get off the ground. Real challenge for them. Consensus among the route setters, for what it's worth, is that the first 2 boulders are probably the hardest, and then things get slightly easier after that. We've had a good look at the boulders, but until you get on them, you don't really know. But that's what they feel.
Yeah, I think we've had a really detailed look at the boulders, and I think the route setters have kept the level quite hard here, I have to say. I mean, it's going to be interesting when the athletes come out, obviously, because it's the best guess, realistically, from us and the chat with the route setters. It's always a best, most unscientific guess. But having looked at the field of athletes all the way through the strong climbers, the speed climbers, I think, inevitably they're going to struggle. 3 speed specialists here have made the combined final. Boulder number 1, I have to say, looks absolutely brutal. Boulder number 2 certainly doesn't ease off that much, and the flames keep burning, really, through 3 and 4. This is going to be a really interesting one, because this format is really quite new to a lot of us here, and it's certainly new for the route setters.
Yeah, we haven't had many Olympic format combined conditions, and this is how they will line up for them. The start order the same as it was in the speed. Now in the finals, the combined finals, the start order changes depending on how the previous discipline went, but in the qualifying competition with the 20 athletes, the start order stays the same, and it will be Vita Lucan out first, followed by Brooke Roberto, Petra Klinger, Jessie Piltz, Julia Shanodi, Nanako Kura, Elana Young, Anouk Jobert, I, Mori, and Luchka Rakovic. Top half of the order, Dinu, Alexandra Miroslav, less than 24 hours on from completing her double in the World Championship speed climbing, and then Evgenia Kazbekova, Cheonsa, Mia Krampel, Miho Nanaka, Futaba Ito, Shauna Coxey, Kyo Noguchi, and Janja Garnbret. 3 Japanese climbers in the top 5. They can only take 2 to the Olympics, and there is a battle royale there to decide which 2 climbers will end up going to Tokyo. Here's Vita Lucan, first climber out, 5 minutes begins.
Here comes the first climber.
So this is the traditional bouldering semi-final format, so first climber on the first boulder. 5 minutes on, 5 minutes rest, working their way down the wall left to right. In between each attempts on the boulder, after their final 5 minutes, they will head behind the wall to the isolation zone where they can't see any of the wall, any of the boulderers, before they come out to tackle the next boulder. So slowly, as this combined bouldering competition goes on, semi-final format. We'll see competitors filling all of the boulders on the wall. Women's number 1 into the roof section, as we described slightly earlier. There's a little thumb catch on the bottom side of that left-hand volume for the right hand. And it's a classic invert boulder. Flick the feet above the head, toe wrapping the big red fiberglass in the middle before fully inverting and bringing the hands through to the feet. That's what we hope goes down anyway. Let's see if the climbers can read it. I really don't think there's going to be many other options available here. There's a black little screw on and a red screw on there that's just going to walk her feet through and get into this really physical toe hook, at which point just releases that left hand to a little bump hold.
This will be interesting information for the route setters. Vita Lucan, coming out first, having qualified in 20th place for the combined World Championship, is a pretty strong boulder. She finished 21st, just outside the semi-final place, and was disappointed with that in the main World Championship stuff. She's finding this boulder hard. That perhaps doesn't bode well for those who are not generally considered to be great boulderers, but we shall see. She's almost up to the zone, and we watched the route setters testing that move late last night after the conclusion of the speed final. And it does look a particularly savage move. You're going up for the zone, which is a pretty small crimp.
Yeah, you can just see that additional screw on top of that red hold there, just to improve the quality of the red fiberglass in the middle of the wall there. You can really see her wrapping her hands over, really crimping that for everything. It was actually her right foot that slipped on the big grey volume on the right hand side that time. Super physical boulder like this, and to have multiple goes is going to really take it out of your body. And considering they've got another 3 boulders to go after this and the lead competition, and you've just done speed, to go through like an invert boulder like this just saps your core so bad. It's going to be an absolute battle.
2.5 minutes remaining now for Vita Lucan. If you watch our World Cup and World Championship coverage, this combined qualifying bouldering will follow a traditional semi-final routine, as Mike outlined. As Mike outlined. 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off. Vita got her work cut out next. As I say, 21st in the World Championships earlier this week, but was hoping for better and is a very good boulderer.
Yeah, that time she's gone her right foot straight to the little jib, the black jib underneath, rather than walking the feet on the underside of the volume. This is a massively physical move here, bringing that left arm in, really pulling hard, and it's a terrible jib on the underside of that starting hole. She's done really well to get through that. This is the right foot that slipped last time. Really high right foot, really hard to put the power through it.
Trying to hug that volume as best she can. 1.5 minutes left to find a solution. Now she lands on the zone, but her work is far from done. Kate keeps on coming here because ideally you'd like your left hand on the zone so that you could move out right, but the right hand is occupied, keeping you on the wall. Will she risk everything and go for a big jump? Tries to cross through. It didn't look a bad method.
Yeah, that's the method that I think is going to really start to develop on this boulder. On the volume out on the right, there's a high toe hook far right. Saw a couple of the route setters testing that method there. You can see it on the screen right there. Little black jib on the underside of that big triangle. Seeing the route setters get the zone hole with the right hand, matching feet on the big teardrop grey volume on the underside of that, and just flicking their right toe up before going in a bit more control to the big sort of pinchy telephone hole just above the zone. And I think realistically Vita's sequence there is going to be the one that we're going to see used a bit more often here, kind of quite low percentage but really basic, and just sometimes in this 5 minute format got to stick with the basics and just power it through to the next hold.
And Vita, I think, settles for the zone. Might not be a bad decision, actually. Looking at how hard this boulder is, the zone might actually, on reflection, be a pretty good result.
I think considering how physical this, going upside down on boulders like this, it really does take it out of your core. I think 3 to 4 goes maximum, assuming you get through the start move okay, is probably what we're going to see.
Well, we got 4 attempts to get the zone there from Vita, and then she had a somewhat abortive 5th attempt. Here comes Brooke Rabisu. So once her 5 minutes is up, Vita will come back out onto boulder 2 and Petra Klinger will come out onto boulder 1. But as it is, Brooke will climb alone. 9.129, 6th quickest time on the speed whirl earlier on today, and I'm sure was delighted with that result. Take your time to look at the boulder instead of jumping straight on.
This inverted sequence, I think for the average climber down the gym, would be really hard to read, but I imagine for the majority of this field it's relatively obvious. It's surprising, so many times you come out to a World Cup wall and you just look up, and even as an experienced climber it's really hard to know the sequence, and I'm always fascinated to see how well these route setters read these boulders. Obviously they've never seen it before, come out, she's taken 50 seconds to have a look, and straight away she's trying something a little bit different. That's the thumb catch for the right hand on the first left hand volume. The thing that immediately tells you that this is an inverted problem is the small screw-ons for the feet on the red volume in the middle of the wall. As soon as you see that, you should be able to read that that is a feet first problem. Straight away, Brooke tried something different. First go, second go, reads the little screw-ons. Shows you it's a feet first boulder. That's where the experience comes in for the route setters training in the gym, making sure that they've got really high-end route setters to make sure that they experience all the different styles on a regular basis and picking up those little clues that show you what's what.
Pulls back on again now. They definitely have not pulled their punches, the route setters, with this bouldering round. There's a little catch for the left hand for Brooke once she's happy with the feet. Can't quite get solid on them.
For this move to work normally, you need a really good right hand in this way that she's going, heading out to the right. The right hand is on the volume. It's a pretty bad hold all in all, but the toe, the thumb catch I should say, for the right hand offers just enough to be able to really pull in on the right arm. You'll see where next time Brooke pulls on, she has to pull really hard to get the body up and high and right. So at this point here, she really needs to bring the body into the volume, into the right hand, to gain the height to get the toes on.
So Brooke going again, you can see grimacing with the effort required to get there. Just over 2 minutes remaining to try and figure this boulder out. As I say, they are not messing around, these route setters. A lot of speculation, how hard do you make the boulders? It's an unknown for them. They're never quite sure how hard the climbers will find the boulders they've set for them, but in this combined format, that is doubly true.
Yeah, I have to say, I was slightly surprised at the level of difficulty I was witnessing last night and this morning. Having said that, it's always pretty surprising when you come to a World Cup to see the level of difficulties.
So Brooke will go again. I wonder if she really struggles on this attempt, whether she might consider saving her energy for challenges later on in the day.
When the route setters set these types of moves, they really have to get the dimensions right, because if you're too small, you can't reach between the left-hand starting hold and the right toe hook. There is a maximum distance there that if you just aren't long enough, you're not going to make it. You could argue, yeah, if you pull a bit harder on your right hand, you could get your body in a little bit closer to the wall. Kind of, it all starts to add up. The maths adds up all of a sudden. But ultimately, the distance between the left hand and the right toe hook has to be right. As she pulls on, gets into position, you'll see her left arm will go pretty much straight. That's her maximum length.
30 seconds to go. Brooke decides against another attempt. Probably a pretty wise decision. 3 more boulders and a lead route to go. No point burning too much energy at this early stage. And we will wait 20 seconds for the arrival of Petra Klinger and the return of Vita Lucan. So Vita secured the zone on that first boulder. No top. Had a pretty good go up with the left hand, but I have to say didn't look entirely convinced herself. Cameraman just being told to get out of the way because Vita Lucan's arriving. Here she is on number 2, Petra Klinger, the 2016 Boulder World Champion, arrives on Boulder 1.
As this competition progresses, we'll start to become more and more familiar with the different boulders and the different moves and the intricacies. This is our first look at number 2. Petra is particularly good at this style. Such a strong physical climber. She'll be quite at home in this inverted position. It's actually quite similar to a boulder that made its way into the World Championship finals in bouldering last year in Innsbruck.
She'll be reasonably happy as well, I think, with her speed climbing performance, 9.201, around an hour ago right here in the arena. So she's got her combined final off to a good day, a good start, excuse me.
Petra's just searching, exploring the idea of that further toe hook, but just locks off the zone hold, rolls over nicely. Perfect start for Petra. She is really good in the speed. Now she's away on the bouldering.
Look at that. Big smile on Petra's face. She would have been happy with the speed, I would imagine. Very happy with the start to her boulder.
Vita Lucan, she had a massive effort there. That was still her first go. Jumped across to the far right-hand volume with the big yellow jug screwed onto it. There's a nice replay of the little jump across. Relatively simple in terms of jumps for athletes of this caliber. Big distance, but to a big hold. From a big hold to a good hold. And then you get into this super awkward press section at the top of the wall. Really building the feet up. It just looks horrendous on the left shoulder.
That's where she's headed, the top. But once you get across to that big zone hold that she went across to, still an awful lot of work to be done. The junior lead world champion Vita Lucan, so she will fancy her chances in the lead. Taking a pretty long rest, and who can blame her? Lining up the jump again, you can see that blue hold just blocking it. It means that you can't just go full gas, if you like, out to the right. The blue hold just blocks where you want to go, and I think she actually just banged her hand on the blue hold.
Yeah, she's sort of hit the crossbar, as it were, referring to football.
Let's have a look. Yeah. Actually probably quite painful, stubbing the end of the fingers into the volume unexpectedly like that.
Yeah, I think when you've got 5 minutes on the clock, you only feel the pain when you've gone back for your 5 minutes rest afterwards. The pain kicks in slowly.
Just under 2 minutes remaining for Vita. She's already done the jump once, getting frustrated now.
Yeah, this toe hook move at the start is not quite as obvious as it may look. The hold does slope away, it just sort of rounds off that hold, opens up a little bit. She has to really load the toe before rolling over to the next, the big yellow jug. See how she puts it in there, she has to really weight it before moving and rolling over.
Here she goes again. Vita Lucan lining it up, heading out to the right, and this time she makes the jump work. She's up to the zone hold. Once again, had already secured it on her first attempt, now tries to find the press position. The rotation through the shoulder, absolutely brutal, and she just can't hang on to it.
It seems really hard to actually put any weight through that shoulder. It's a pretty slopey, I'm just going to call it a jug, it's not even, it's just a sloping ramp. And the footholds are actually really poor up there, which is making it really difficult to put the power through the feet and really get up into that shoulder. It's the lower foothold just at the bottom of your screen there that's really got to do the work for her.
It's one of the weakest positions you can find your arm in, right above your head, and then turn so your palm is basically facing behind you. That's really the position she's got to hold.
It really does isolate those muscles in the shoulder. You really struggle to engage anything else in the body in that angle.
Okay, Vita lining up the jump again. Right, she's got it done. Got about 20 seconds actually. I think just had a little glance at the clock and has plenty of time to do this move, but does she have the shoulder strength? She's got to get the right foot up, then slap the right hand to join the left. And sadly for her, is out of time. So Vita, 2 zones on the first 2 boulders, but no tops. Petra Klinger, the only climber with the top so far. I have to say, cruised boulder 1. Jessie Piltz now gets her boulder underway. Brooke Rabisu's back out. She's climbing on number 2. Jessie, I'm sure, well aware of how well Petra did when Petra walked back in after 1 minute with a big smile on her face, not looking very tired.
Yeah, not looking hot or tired, I don't think.
No, you don't need to be Inspector Clouseau to figure out that she might have topped the boulder. So Jessie will know it's been topped. 4 minutes 30 now for her to do it. Brooke's still on the mat, just having a look at boulder 2. Jessie 11th in speed, just over 9.5 seconds for her. So she could do the big result in boulder.
Root setters, like I said before, they've got those 2 screw-ons underneath that big red pinch in the middle of the wall to help bring the toe right up and over that toe hook on top. Jessie opting to use one of them there. I wonder if she'll have a little think and try and use the second one. Just maybe might just give her a couple of extra centimetres just to get that toe hook established. Shoe choice could actually be absolutely crucial here on women's number 1. Rubber on the front of the shoes, sometimes absolutely vital to make sure you've got the right contact on the holds.
See on the scores there, Petra Klinger leading the way. 1 top. Just to let you know, Brooke Rabisu has done the jump on number 2. We'll keep an eye on her.
Jessie just struggling to establish a really good contact on the toe hooks at the moment.
There's Brooke over on the right, looking pretty solid on that shoulder. You can see how hard she's having to work, but she was looking good on it, and she could be looking good for a top here. Brooke Rabisu just needs the right hand to come across, and there it is. Boulder 2 is topped. Good start for Brooke, couldn't even find a zone on the first boulder, but she finds a top on the second and earns herself 2.5 minutes extra rest into the bargain.
Yeah, that was really impressive. She looked so solid on the feet, so solid on the right foot, especially in the way she pushed up into that shoulder. Tremendously strong in that position. Jessie trying something completely different. Jessie not enjoying the toe hooks. Opting to start with the hands around the other way and just jump into that next hold. Certainly worth a try.
Suddenly finds herself alone on the stage with some moves she is really struggling with at this stage. Still got lead to come. She is, of course, a former lead world champion, so she'll be confident there. Certainly, at the very least, a single figures finish in boulder. Top 9 would be great for her after 11th in the speed.
This is better for Jessie.
That's more like it. Clever climbing.
She had one quick go with the alternative beta with the jump over. It's wise just to have a quick look, but it goes back to the method that she originally chose, and this is looking really good. This sort of lock-off move, she should be very happy, but it looks like she's just trying to figure out her options here, whether to try and jump all the way over to the next pinch. She does jump. Saw Petra really locking that on the right arm. Jessie looked come up pretty short there.
Got time for another go. I would imagine she will probably wait until there's about 30 seconds left before pulling back on.
As soon as she hit that zone hold there, you can see her looking left and right, just trying to decide the best options for the feet. Not immediately offered to use that toe hook out, right? We didn't see Petra using it at all.
A lot of body tension required here. Again, Jessie doing well by swinging the left foot out, putting her flexibility to good use. Tough move now up to the zone. We'll have to go with the right hand, much as you'd like to have the left hand there. Does go with the right, secures the zone. She already had that, so she's aiming for the top. Slaps up with the left hand, but doesn't quite have the power of Petra and isn't able to land it.
I wonder if we'll see that again, because that time, that zone hold, she actually went for the full crimp. Thumb locked over the top of the fingers, bit of a sign of how tired she was looking in her 5 minutes there. Previous go, she just dragged the thumb, went for the half crimp.
The next climber on column 1, number 16.
Julia Shan gets her boulder competition underway. Petra Klinger is back out. Vita Lucan is climbing on number 3. First chance to have a look at boulder 3, which is a slab. Don't think it will stop the top end boulderers, but Vita is the first climber we've actually seen in action on it. So we'll find out, but it doesn't look, by the standards of IFSC World Cup and World Championship slabs, it doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, straight away in this competition, we've seen first 2 boulders topped already.
Petra Klingler's done the jump on number 2, by the way. There she is, middle of your screen. Showed her power earlier on in boulder 1. She's showing it again on boulder 2. The feet cut loose, but she managed to hang on to it anyway, as if it wasn't hard enough already. Now just needs to match with the right hand, does so, and should bring it home for the top. Great start for Petra Klinger. 2 boulders, 2 tops.
Take a while to wipe that smile from Petra Klinger. Like we said, that's such a good start on the speed. 2 boulders have actually really suited her. Super powerful, really physical. Still pumping her fist as she walks through into the isolation zone there. The gamesmanship, maybe pumping the fist so everyone can see you.
So Vita obviously got that first tricky move done on the slab where we saw her struggling earlier on. And there is another tiny little blue hold right in the middle of the wall. There it is, just to help you on the way towards the top. Not a lot for the right foot, but should just about be enough to leave her onto. And you can see the top beckoning. She just readjusts the foot. Moment of commitment has to come at some stage. She doesn't quite want to go for it. Now she decides to lead with the left hand. Nice match on top for Vita. So she's off the mark. She picked up 2 zones. Now she's got a top to go with those 2 zones on the first 2 boulders.
This was good from Vita. The left hand that she has there is more of a sort of side pull undercut. Better for the thumb than the fingers, but she really just was crimping it down for everything that it's worth on top of the hold. And we'd have to say here, Charlie, straight away we're getting tops coming all over the place. Early predictions, as usual, slightly sketchy. I think we could be seeing quite a few tops here.
Yeah, Petra Klinger flashed both of the first 2 boulders.
Just going by the times that we saw in the speed element of this combined competition, the athletes look like they're really up for this here today. The stakes are possibly the biggest stakes of all time in climbing. Spot in the Olympics, first ever Olympics up for grabs, and you really feel like climbers are competing so hard today, and they're looking really, really strong. There was a big question mark how tired they're going to be looking going into this competition after such a hard World Championships leading up to it, but everybody, including Julia Shan here, looking super solid. Just choosing to swap the feet.
Yeah, she clocked a personal best in the speed earlier on, Julia Shan. She could be about to get her boulder event off to a good start. Top for her. That was impressive dedication because she wasn't looking that close to the boulder and what we saw of her on it, and then suddenly just found that extra 1% and is rewarded with a top. So personal best in speed, a top on boulder 1. She will be pretty happy with how today is going so far, you would imagine. So we've got a minute or so to wait before the next climbers come out.
Just as Julia did that move, it's going to be interesting to start to see the foot sequences that develop. She went for the left foot off the giant teardrop on the right-hand side. It really just seemed to open the body up and give her enough spring before jumping over to the big jug in the middle of the wall.
Close up here of the slab, women's 3. Tenuous, but such is the nature of the slab. As I say, we don't expect that it is a super hard slab by the standards of World Cups and World Championships. Really interesting to see as well the level of the setting. They definitely toned the level down slightly from a World Cup or World Championship semi-final or final. I was slightly worried at the start that they made the boulders too hard. That doesn't look to be the case now.
So many times in the semi-final format of bouldering, the same format that we're using here in the combined, you see quite a few kind of bolters coming out early and getting a few early tops, but the way that the ranking works here in the combined, it's talent all over the field, so it's really quite hard to make these predictions as to who's going to do what and how hard the boulders really are.
Nanako Kura comes out now, 6th place for her in the Boulder World Championship earlier on this week, made the final. Jessie Piltz is climbing again and Brooke Rabisu is climbing on number 3. The way the scoring works in the combined is that your ranking in each event, so 1 to 20, depending on where you finish in each discipline, is multiplied by your ranking in the other disciplines. So if you're first in speed, second in boulder, third in lead, for a start you'd have had a pretty good day, and your score would be 6. 1 multiplied by 2, multiplied by 3 for first for speed, second for boulder, third for lead. So that's how it works. And it means because each of your rankings is multiplied, not added together, one position can make an enormous difference. Brooke Rabisu, by the way, is stood up on the slab, but we'll keep an eye on her. Nanako Kura having her first attempt at number 1. Here is Brooke on number 3.
Easily established the mantle of the starting hold into the big sort of giant volcano volume at the bottom of the wall. Just going to make this transition across now. The wall is actually pretty low friction, so every time she uses the foot on the wall, it really has to be on a hod. You see when she smears, just trying to nail actually into one of the T-nut holes on the wall, gives you an idea of how bad the friction is. She's drilling her toe into the T-nut. One of the round holes drilled into the wall. Going up with the right hand here for Brooke, easily into that undercut.
Yeah, we saw Vita Lucan pausing for quite a long time there, and then it decided to go with the left. Brooke much quicker up, very confident, straight up with the right hand.
Yeah, finding it okay really to put the power through that right foot. That's 2 tops in 3 attempts for her.
Yeah, that was a flash of boulder 3. So Jessie Piltz now looking at boulder 2, Nanako Kura looking at boulder 1.
So far, Nanako hasn't found the correct sequence. Just see the legs of Jessie Piltz there. She's in the full shot, gets the jump done.
Safely up to the zone.
Opting to go off the right heel.
Yeah, right heel and right hand. But I think now going for the method. That's why the route setters put that right foot in. That's how they want the climbers to go, with the left hand, then bring the right foot up, then the right hand to join the left. That's exactly how they designed it. Jessie, perhaps looking for a slightly different method, ended up doing it how it was designed and ended up with the results she wanted.
That selection of right foot that holds is actually quite interesting there, because realistically it's just a case of bumping the right foot 3 times until you get into that big jug, and each one of them just helps you just straighten the body a little bit, just pushing up and high into that undercut. Every time you use the right foot, just gains you a little bit extra height until you can start bending the elbow.
So this boulder's been topped twice now. Petra Klinger flashed it, Julia Shanodi got it on her 3rd attempt, and Nanako Kura, who made the World Championship boulder final, could do with finding a result here. Already looks that if you don't get this boulder done, you could be getting left behind. We shall see. But she's the 6th climber to attempt it, and 2 have already topped it. A long rest. Nanako Kura. Elana Yip will be climbing next.
The constant calculation between conserving power, using your attempts wisely and trying to get the boulder done. It's always a big question mark for these climbers. Looks like she's just trying something completely different there. Doesn't seem to understand the sequence here for Nanako, unfortunately. She did have one quick go at the toe hook earlier on in her attempts.
So she walks off without the top, and we await the arrival of Elana Yip. Julia Shanodi will be climbing on number 2, Petra Klinger will be on number 3, and Vita Lucan, almost finished her boulder rotation already, will be on number 4. Here comes Julia Shanodi, here comes Elana Yip, climbing on number 1, underway in the bouldering. Dipped under 10 seconds on the speed wall, Elana, 9.963. And now the wall full.
female side, Elana Young really is Canada's best hope, you would say, for this position in the Olympics. 20 men and 20 women will be going through. Petra Klinger just on the left-hand side of the screen, they're opting to go for the straight mantle underneath the big starting volume. Vita Lucan starts on this really big sort of coordination section on women's number 4. Slightly cryptic sequence, actually.
She's got all of the zones so far. That was actually the zone hole she went to on number 4. Not sure. She should be awarded that, you would imagine. We'll still see a bit of a judgment to make for the route setters.
Yeah, you're saying yes, I'm saying no. It's a call for the judges, that one.
And judges are saying no as well.
Potential for a sort of number 4 there, kind of it to turn into a coordination move. That's what you're saying, a slightly cryptic sequence. As Petra looking really solid on this bouldering round so far. It's absolutely flying.
Will she go with the left? Will she go with the right? Creeps up and then just rolls over with the right hand. Petra is flying in the boulders.
Yeah, I'm liking this sequence so far because that's 3 different methods for the same move. Vita Lucan on the right hand side has got through the jump to the zone.
So she's definitely secured all 4 zones, Vita. This could be a top and 4 zones if she can get it done. Holds it. So Vita, 2 tops, 4 zones, her score for the boulder. But you can see already at this early stage, that's only enough for 2nd in the provisional rankings.
Yeah, I think the top 5, top 6 in this field, you would imagine it is going to be a 4 tops round.
I agree.
Very different to what we've seen in the World Championships bouldering so far. Very few tops in both the men's and the women's field. So yeah, the route setters just toned it down a little bit. We're going to start to see a top-heavy round where it's going to come down to the number of attempts to start splitting the climbers.
So Julia got boulder number 1 done on her 3rd attempt. Currently wrestling with number 2. We haven't been following her, so we don't know how many attempts she's had. Struggling to get the right foot up, but that left hand staying resolutely in place as it needs to, and once the right hand joins it, you would have thought the boulder is done and dusted, and so it proves. So top for Julia, she's topped both of the first 2. Petra Klinger's flashed all 3 boulders she's attempted, and as you say, Mike, I think the top 4 or 5 could actually end up with 4 flashes in this round, let alone 4 tops. Petra really showing how it's done so far, and Julia not far behind, requiring a couple more attempts on each boulder, but looking really strong. Here goes Elana Young. The other 3 climbers who are on this rotation are already back behind the wall, having topped their boulders.
I think this is the sort of move on women's number 1 here, that if the toe hook doesn't get properly locked into place, it really does just feel impossible to move your hands, and you can't even imagine releasing a hand to bring your hand up to your toes, and that's why Elana's starting to question her methodology here. The toe hook really isn't really engaged with that little screw on top of the red hole in the middle of the wall there.
Do with at least a zone here, Elana. "35 seconds to go. Will she have another attempt? I don't think so. So Elana walks off empty-handed from boulder 1. 20 seconds until the climbers head back out. We've mentioned it a couple of times, but it is such a journey into the unknown for climbing in general, but for the route setters, they just don't quite know where to pitch the difficulty level. Certainly you can tell that they've brought the level down from the semi-finals and finals.
Well, they do have to think about the athletes a little bit as well. They don't want to completely ruin them before the lead competition. You know, there's an element of conserving the athletes, their kind of all-round body fitness, but also the skin on the hands as well. You don't want everybody just sort of coming out in body bags ready for the lead competition. They've really got to be kind of kept in one piece as well, because you know we really want this combined competition to come down to an exciting finish at the end. There's a show element to consider here as well.
30 seconds to go. 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 30 Anouk Jobert now gets her boulder underway. Really interested to see how she gets on. Fantastic speed climber, actually came off the speed wall in 2nd place today, but picked up a bronze medal right here in this arena 18 hours ago in the Speed World Championship. It'll be interesting to see how she gets on with the boulder. We have seen her in more and more boulder competitions this year. For now, though, we're watching Jessie Piltz, 2018 lead champion and 2-time World Cup winner in the lead as well. Nanako Kura getting a big cheer from the crowd as she, I think, is about to top number 2. We're sticking with Jessie, though. It is a top for Nanako Kura on number 2. What can Jessie do on the slab? Safely up to the zone. Brooke just brushing away on number 4. And Anouk Jobert still looking at the start of number 1. So let's stick with Jessie and hopefully see another top on number 3.
Currently got her right foot just in the side of that hold in the yellow helmet now. She does move it down to the right foot. You can really try and see her squeaking it onto that foot. She's not comfortable with it. Looks like she's going to go for the Petra method with the right heel.
Nicely done from Jessie. Already it's very clear you are going to need to get the slab done to be at the business end of these rankings.
Yeah, you have to say, I think she knew that in her attempts, just reading her body language. She just seemed to be really cautious on the mid and top section of that slab there, just slowed her climbing down a little bit. I think it's becoming obvious that, like you said, Charlie, you've got to get a top on women's number 3.
Yeah, got that one done first go.
This is Nanaka's jump out to the right and top.
Yeah, Nanako Kura, I mentioned while Jessie was climbing, you could see Jessie on the right there, so this is a replay of Nanako Kura's top on number 2. So everybody who's attempted it, with the exception of Vita Lucan, has top number 2, and everybody who's attempted number 3 has ended up topping it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll need to get number 2 and number 3 done if you want at least a top half ranking.
Anouk Jobert just trying to do women's number 1 as a double at the moment. Seems to have read it as a jump with the right hand, flipping the left hand into an undercut. Brooke Roberto currently sitting with those 2 tops in 3 attempts, already on her 4th boulder. So a really good look at this. Vita just doubled across to the zone. Brooke just trying to do it as a roll through at the moment, just coming up a little bit short. Brooke and Anouk, the only climbers out on the mats at the moment. Brooke with just under 1 minute 10 to go, possibly a final attempt. Developed a new method there, rolling over the left hand, quickly reacting by stabbing the right hand out. It was a quick attempt, she will go for another. You're going to see Anouk Jobert completely different, starting with the left hand on the starting hold. Maybe just showing a little bit of inexperience in the bouldering there, not trying anything different. As I said earlier, those little additional screw-ons all around that starting position really do tell you it's a feet-first boulder.
I wonder if, in the case of Anouk, she just doesn't feel that she can hold on to that starting position. Maybe that's why she's trying something a bit different. Here goes Brooke. This could be quite big for her. Already picked up 2 tops. Just can't quite hold the barn door. 15 seconds to go. Won't have time to top it, you wouldn't have thought, unless you can climb incredibly quickly. Time ticking away. Needs to get this move done really quickly and can't, sadly. Doesn't secure the zone. But 2 tops from the bouldering for Brooke Rabisu. Didn't have a good Boulder World Championships, ended up 41st. So 2 tops, not too bad a result, especially after a good speed performance. Heads to the lead next. Ai Mori. There she is closest to the camera. 31st in the Boulder World Championships. Third in the lead, Elana Young climbing again, Julia Shan climbing again, and Petra Klinger looking to make it a clean sweep of flashes. I'll keep an eye on her. We've got a great view of the wall from our commentary position today. She hasn't had an attempt yet. She knows attempts could be crucial. Let's stick with Aimori on the first boulder.
Aimori potentially one of the smallest athletes in the field, and I'm really reluctant to say that women's number one is I'm not going to call it reaching because that would be unfair to the route setters, but the slightly longer you are, the easier it is, I think, to get into that toe hook position. Aimori, you can see she just about gets into the starting position, so I think she's going to start trying all of the different options to get established on women's number one.
This is Julia Shan now looking to make it 3 tops on 3 boulders. It would be a flash if she could do it. Petra Klinger, by the way, already had an attempt on number 4, but unsuccessful. Julia just struggling to keep that left hand solid enough to bring the right up to join it. You can see her fighting away. Needs to really engage the left foot if at all possible. Left shoulder just beginning to get tired now. It's a hard position to hang on to. Julia cannot hang on to it. Petra's had another attempt on number 4, and Elana Young is high on number 2.
You see there was Julia Shan the fatigue setting in the left shoulder. She really didn't seem to be 100% happy on the right toe, which meant she couldn't really release the right hand. It was kind of like 60-40, 60% effort going through the right hand, 40% on the top, and the balance of percentages is what was going through which hand didn't quite add up for her to let go of that right hand.
Petra Klinger tries again. Aimori about to try again on number 1.
Interestingly, Petra going up with the left hand first before smashing out into this big pinch with the right hand. Does try the little coordination jump, gets it done. This is a fantastic round of climbing here for Petra Klinger. Surely she'll end up really at the top of the group.
Petra going really well here. She flashed the first 3 boulders. If she can do this last move, she'll have topped all 4. Contorts her body, launches for the top, and hangs onto it with 3 fingers on the right hand before bringing the left hand up to join it. That is 4 tops for Petra Klinger. I think you can see just how much effort was going in right here. Just the left hand side of the body working so hard to keep her in place. And that is her reward. That was her 3rd attempt. She gets all 4 boulders done for just 6 attempts.
Talk about the reward for fighting hard. Petra Klinger there, gave it absolutely everything on that last move. Elana Young into this next section. You can see uses that right foot, which means you can straighten the right arm and start bending the left arm. Oh, big wins from Elana there. She's really not comfortable in that shoulder position. Julia Shan back in here, it's just working the right foot. You can see her really pumping the right foot, trying all different options. She's kind of got it wedged between the screw-on and the yellow hole, not straight onto the screw-on itself.
This is Julia Shan now with the left hand and now the right hand joins it. Looked much more comfortable in that position. Interestingly enough, she was the first climber to top the boulder who didn't top it when she got to the zone. First climber to fall off after the zone, but she made amends the 2nd time.
Yeah, it really came down to that right foot position. She was very clever actually there. There's a small screw-on wedged up against the yellow hole for her right foot, and she ended up trying to wedge it, effectively making a new hole between the 2. Aimori here having to release into the left hand undercut right out the start position. She does look super stretched, it's hard not to say it.
Mike, I have to say, it could be a new career for you in politics. This boulder's not easier if you're taller, but if you're a bit longer, it makes the reach more straightforward. That is a great politician's answer.
Well, I have to say, as many years as a professional route setter myself, if anyone says your boulder's reach, it particularly annoys you. So.
Here goes Elana Young. I think she's got herself in position for a top. She has, and that's good persistence from her. She had to work for that, got herself close a few times. Luchka Rakovic begins on boulder 1. Anouk Jobert back out onto number 2. Nanako Kura on number 3, and Jessie Piltz about to finish her rotation on number 4. Jessie's got 2 tops and all 3 zones so far. Petra Klinger as it stands, out in front with 4 tops. I certainly think we could see all 4 boulders flashed here, but Petra currently leading the way. 4 tops in return for just 6 attempts and flashed the first 3. Here's Luchka. Completely different method.
A different method to walk the feet through, just using the left foot on the underside of that big left-hand teardrop. Just seemed to help her bring the body in to the wall a little bit. Jessie established on the hard section of women's number 4 then. She's worked really hard on her coordination moves over the last few years. Hands on hips at the moment though for Jessie.
Here's Anouk looking to do the jump here, out to the right, looking pretty good so far. Got to be really accurate though, got one good hand out. Seen Nanako Kora on the right, Jessie Piltz currently looking up at Boulder 4, already had an attempt. Luchka Rakovic going, feet first again, as we're pretty sure you have to. Always open to a surprise, but can't really see a way of not doing it feet first. Really tricky first boulder to come out to, because if you can't hold that position, your confidence will take a very severe knock.
I think because that boulder looks so complicated, it's sometimes really easy to start second guessing yourself. Nice technique here from Jessie though, using the left heel. That's a new beta that's developed on women's number 4, avoiding the coordination move.
That does mean Jessie's going to end with all 4 zones, regardless of whether she tops from here on out. She's got 2 tops and 4 zones. 3 tops and 4 zones would be very nice indeed. And looked at the move for quite some time, and then in the end just flicked over to it and cruised up to the top. So that's a good boulder round for Jessie Piltz, who at times this season hasn't quite looked like the Jessie of 2018, and she moves herself into a very early 2nd place, 3 tops, 4 zones.
Yeah, unlike Petra on that top move, she kept her feet low, didn't put the left foot up high, just kept the right foot low, and just really, like you said, Johnny, just rolled over and flicked for the top move. Keeping the leg straight is always better than putting it high. Gives you that extra spring. Worked really well for her for that top move. Luchka really struggling to establish the toe hooks. So for a lot of climbers, a toe hook is a real love-hate relationship. Many climbers really do prefer the heels over the toes, but seemingly if you like a toe hook, if you find one, you're absolutely in dreamboat territory, because it really does work on that boulder.
Nanako Kora now over on the slab on number 3. She would be the first climber to have attempted it and not top it. She couldn't find a way. Anouk Jobert, meanwhile, has got the jump done. We cut across to her after she just finished the jump. You can see that phase tells you everything you need to know, working so hard. Just needs to keep the feet on. Goes up with the right hand, and heartbreak for Anouk Jobert. No question marks over the effort level, and just couldn't stay in place. Let's have a look. Oh, really accurate on the jump.
Yeah, this is actually a really big moment here, actually, for Anouk. Especially a speed specialist. There's lots of talk going into this combined about speed specialists potentially going to struggle to make it into the top 20. She is here. She got a great result in the first round of this combined in the speed, obviously. And yeah, pushing for a top, very impressive.
Well, if she could find a top on number 2, with a potentially more straightforward number 3 to come, what a position that would put her in. I mean, she's already got a zone. And I personally, if I was Anouk Jobert with 5 minutes rest coming up and a slab to follow, I would give this one absolutely everything I had for a final attempt. "15 seconds for somebody to find the top, and Anouk, I can just see by the way, not attempting again, had it quickly pulled on to number 2, but I think that penultimate go was certainly the one. That could be a big moment, as I say, because your scores are multiplied, they're not added together. The difference between 7th and 8th, or 8th and 11th, is absolutely vast, because your rankings are multiplied. So every zone, every attempt could be absolutely crucial. It might move you at one place and it could make a massive difference later on. Here's our second so-called speed specialist. I'm wondering whether we should be using that term, given how fast some of the speeds were earlier on. But Dinu, who picked up the silver medal last night in the Speed World Championship. This is Mori as well, climbing on number 2. Big jump coming up here. Again, as PC Mike said, politically correct Mike said, it's not reachy, but it's a bit easier if you're longer. Here's Julius Chanodi.
There's a beer in that from the route setters later.
Elana Young, by the way, stood up on the slab on number 3. There she is. Julia Chanodi is looking to make it 4 tops and 4 boulders. And that is gone, sadly, for Elana Young. She couldn't get the job done on number 1, but she could make it 2 from 3 if she can find a way on this slab.
Going cross-hand to establish on the foothold for Elana. Really helps to transfer the weight round to the left-hand side there. You can see a big twist on the left. See how comfortable she seems on this right foot.
Top for Elana Young. Let's have another look at how she did it. Choose to lead with the right hand. I can't actually see the top hole, but there it is.
Happy with the left hand as a crim. Right foot felt good for her.
Julia Chanodi on the right there, chasing that 4th top, would put it in a very strong position with her traditionally strongest discipline. Lead still to come. 2 minutes 30 left. Julia just stepping back, studying the boulder, I think wondering if there's something she's missed. Is there a better method? Here's Mori. Dinu, we haven't seen much of on Boulder 1, but she is just brushing, and that is a very heavy fall from Mori. Takes it face first.
Yeah, if you're new to climbing, that is bouldering right there. It's so physical. Climbers absolutely 100% commitment. Route setters put them into these most crazy positions. He really did take that one clean in the face, but seems to have just shrugged it off, got up. See the mats here, super soft. Julia's still just searching for those options, and with those 3 tops in 8 attempts at the moment, Julia can find something in the next minute and a half. That would be huge.
Yeah, Mori back on the mats, Julia Chanodi back on the mats. Here's Dinu, let's have a look at her on number 1.
Again, really questioning her sequence. You can see that straight away, just really not sure which hand to lead with first. Trying to go off the left hand. That's really, you can see the difference between the different specialists here coming into 4 boulders that are all equally challenged on the ability to read the boulders straight off the bat as soon as they come out. Mori just seems to have dialed down the commitment by 5% there after that big fall.
You can blame her, really. 1 minute to go now, beep sounds out around the arena. Julia Chanodi again going for it. Yeah, I'm not surprised with Mori. It was like when you're at school and you get hit in the face by a football. I'm all right. But actually your face is killing you for about an hour afterwards.
Not going for any headers for the next half an hour.
Exactly. And takes an almost identical one. You don't mean to laugh, it's just the commitment is outrageous.
Yeah, but when the Olympics is on the line, he's just going to go for it.
Sure, she'd bin it from a lot higher than that if it secured her a place in the Olympics. Julia Chanodi, I think, might be slightly frustrated when she has a look at the scores, realises that Boulder has been topped 3 times. Mori almost takes another face impact. Well, 10 out of 10 for commitment, spectacular stuff. Yeah, I think Julia Chanodi might be a bit disappointed there. 3 times that Boulder's been topped. Julia's had a really good Boulder season, made several Boulder World Cup finals. Couldn't find a way, and that couldn't even find a zone, so that does leave her down in 3rd, and she's going to almost certainly get bumped further down. as time goes by, excuse me.
Yeah, with Julia there, it's a coordination boulder, and those are the ones that really can be heartbreaking sometimes, because you seemingly can just never find a sequence that's really working. Really frustrating when you feel like you're missing something. You can't quite read what the route setter's questions.
Luchka Rakovic back out now. Didn't manage to get anything out of the first boulder. Alexandra Miroslav, formerly Alexandra Rudzinska, is climbing on boulder 1. Anouk Jobert is on number 3. And it's one thing to get in that position, it's another to get out of it, and does well to use all the hip and hamstring flexibility she's got to get her foot up. But it's still very tenuous. The wall just off vertical there, but you've got to keep every bit of you pinned into it. You've got to keep the center of gravity really close, keep the shoulders in, keep the head in, keep your backside in. You need a lot of flexibility and a lot of strength, and I'd imagine she's getting reasonably tired now. Putting all the weight through the hands, trying to get her foot up, and can't quite manage it this time.
With those mantles, short for mantle shelf, I just find it so difficult just to find which foot to put up first and which leg to power through. Some climbers really, if it's a completely horizontal ledge, even on both sides, some climbers prefer the left leg, some climbers prefer the right leg, depending on which one they prefer to push up off. That one is a pretty slopey little ledge, so it's really tricky to see which is the best method and which leg to go off first. Jessie Piltz actually managed to get both heels up perfectly and just easily stood up off both legs. But really not quite finding the right body position yet, but so physical to go push up straight in both arms like that, and making sure you don't block the feet with your arms, don't block your feet with your hands. So yeah, just quickly shuffling the hands out of the way. Every time you move the hands like that, though, you've got to unload that tricep to make sure you don't wobble off in the process. It's looking better though.
Nanako Kura, by the way, is a climber we haven't seen much of on this rotation. She's on number 4, hasn't topped it yet, and Anouk Jobert has got herself stood up. Now, having worked so hard to get here, Anouk Jobert just needs to move really slowly, not take any big risks. She's got plenty of time. She can be sure of every movement. At some stage you have to commit to that left foot, and now she does so. So she'll bring the right foot up and the right hand, then she's got to trust that tiny hold out on its own in the middle of the wall, and then decide whether to go with the left hand or the right hand. It will depend on how solid that right foot feels, which one she goes for. Goes for both at the same time, and that's a top for Anouk Jobert.
Very, very impressive. Double-handed to the top, full commitment, even with 1 minute 45 left. She went for the double. That's a 4th method we've now seen on women's number 3. Just a double thumb-to-cup under there, 2 thumbs on the underside of that hold.
Well, she'll be pleased, I'm sure, as will Luchka Rakovic. She'll be very pleased with that, Anouk Jobert, but again, I'm sure, can't help but wonder what might have been.
Yeah,
because,
number 2.
well, Nanako Kura, who made the Boulder World Championship final, if she can't find a way here on number 4, will end up with 1 top, and Anouk Jobert's got 1 top. If she'd got that 2nd top, if she'd got Boulder 2, she'd be ahead of someone that made the World Championship Boulder final.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. What is happening with Nanako Kura at the moment? Really struggled on that mantle on women's number 3. Couldn't straighten the arms.
Here's Nanako Kura.
Currently with 1 flash to her name, 1 top in 1 attempt. Good finish here, could be good. Goes super low, tries to go off the right foot. We have seen success with that, but only with the hands are on the far right hand green volume. Tried to go from super low, waste no time. Obviously with 16 seconds left, pull straight back on.
Yeah, Nanako Kura, I think, has not left enough time. And for somebody who made the Boulder World Championship final, that is a bitterly, bitterly disappointing result. She's going to finish her rotation with 1 top and 2 zones for it. She would have hoped for so much more than that in the boulder discipline. Evgenia Kazbekova now, work to do, after the speed climbing. Needs a big result here in the boulder. Evgenia 10.822 in the speed climbing. So a couple of seconds, second and a half off the pace that she'd ideally like to be at, I suspect. It's a big result in boulder. Here's Imori.
Yeah, easily established on the mantle at the bottom of the wall, no issues at all on that. Just got to make this transfer now. We're seeing a couple of the athletes using this crossed hand method that really seems to be working really well. Others have just crossed through to that top blue hand with the right hand. Crossed hands and easy for Imori. Talk about fitting into a space. It may not have worked on number 1, but certainly did on number 3. Absolutely the perfect size there.
So Dinu is lining it up for the jump on number 2. Elana Young is climbing on number 4. Evgenia Kaspikova on number 1, and Imori back behind the wall after that top of boulder number 3. Here goes Evgenia. Made the boulder final in the World Championships. Ended up 4th, narrowly missed out on a podium, 1 top away from a podium.
It's that right toe hook over the back of that hold. There is that scrawny little rail in there, and that time she just didn't have it quite established on the hold. As we said, if you don't have the toe just right, it really feels like you can't move anywhere.
Elana Young now going again on number 4. Elana considered primarily a boulder, albeit an increasingly accomplished combined climber. But she's currently on 2 tops. 3 would really transform the look of that result.
Tops from Petra Klinger and Shan on women's number 1, looking increasingly more impressive as more climbers come through this tricky toe hook sequence. This time just moves, shuffles the foot slightly leftwards to get it into the right position before bringing that left foot up.
Dinu on number 2.
You're a poet and you didn't even know it.
Shakespeare ain't got nothing on me. Evgenia Kaspikova, by the way, down on number 1. Let's have a look at Dinu on the jump on number 2. Yeah, that blocker hold really doing its job, which is turning what would be, all things being relative, a relatively straightforward jump into quite a tricky one because you've got to be so accurate with the hands.
Elana just trying something different. She's got those 2 tops in 5 attempts at the moment. 2 zones in 3 attempts on boulder number 4. I think Elana, she's made Boulder World Cup finals before. We could be really looking to improve on that. Slightly disappointing result for her, potentially, even with those 2 tops.
Yeah, I think she would have been hoping for more because she's currently 6th, but she's only the 7th climber to have finished her rotation, so she would get bumped down the order pretty significantly, you'd imagine, as more climbers come out. 2 tops, I would say, at this stage, you'd be struggling to finish in the top 10, which for your main discipline would be a really disappointing result. She really needs something here. Dinu really struggling. I think just banged her hand again. Again, Elana able to touch the zone, but not able to hang on to it. Evgenia Kaspikova really struggling with this first move. Is this a skin issue, perhaps, from the sheer volume of climbing? This is Elana Young live again. Dinu had enough. You can see her walking off. Let's have a look at Elana. Cannot figure out how to do that move, and we'll have to settle for 2 tops. As I said, might have hoped for more. Can make amends on the lead wall, but would definitely have been hoping for a slightly better performance in boulder. Shan, boulder 1. Alexandra Miroslav closest to the camera there on number 2.
I think it's going to be a lot of people concentrating on Cheon-soo here. There's been so much talk about her after the lead season, the 3 competitions we've had there already. Didn't quite give us the full battle that we was expecting with Yanya Gambret in the lead World Championships, but has seemingly got a fair amount of skill in the bouldering department. But this is the combined, and it's going to be super interesting to see if she can be really up there in the bouldering.
This is Lučka Rakovic on number 3. Yeah, I think one thing you see is that the really experienced, and I have to say slightly older climbers can do is just keep climbing hard day after day after day. For Cheon-soo, it is an absolutely brutal workload that she's had here in Hachioji. Question mark is how she'll cope with it. Here's Lučka, that's confidence for you, takes both hands off, perhaps wishing to took her chalk bag with her, but either way, looking pretty solid so far. Not a care in the world as she took both hands off, quickly wiped them, and now carries on again.
Most athletes now going for this double hand cross method to establish on the left-hand side of the slab. Really, this top move is all about the right foot.
Top for Lučka. Yeah, you'll need to get that one done. And Nako Kura, the only climber so far that hasn't found a top on number 3. Yeah, one of the question marks we had with Cheon-soo, who we're currently watching on Boulder 1, was what she'd be like on the boulder. She's exploded, as we've mentioned several times already this week, onto the lead scene this week. And in qualifiers in the World Championship Boulder, she managed 5 tops out of 5. So the answer to can she boulder as well would appear to be yes. The semi-final didn't quite go as well for her. She couldn't find a top there, but there's no shame in that. 2 of the finalists didn't end up finding a top, such was the brutality of the round.
Currently on that women's number 1, it does seem if you're a little bit shorter, you have to try and establish your toes off of the little intermediate right hand, same position as the starting hold. Before getting the toe hooked up, let's see it now, see if she can wrap the toes. No, she does have to drop the left hand in, out of the starting position, into the right hand starting position before even moving the holds, which means you've got to put absolutely everything into the right hand pinch. Really, really hard way of doing it.
Alexandra Miroslav is climbing on boulder 2. Annick Jobert is on number 4. Lučka Rakovic top number 3. And we're watching Cheon-soo on number 1.
Let's have another look. Yeah, she just has to drop that left hand in. So it's a really, really bad hold. I don't think we've actually seen an angle on it where we can see the hold itself, but it's you're just going to have to trust me when I say it's pretty grim.
I don't think anyone could accuse of us not using the correct technical terms. Yeah, some industrial adjectives are often what you need to describe some of the holds at this level of boulder. So this time she manages to keep the feet on. It's not that much consolation because she wasn't able to free up a hand.
Yeah, that little jib that she's trying to use as the left hand underneath is really only there just to lower the body out before going into the toe hook, so it's not really a hold you're supposed to really engage with.
So without doubt, Annick Jobert faring the best of the speed climbing specialists. 1 top for her and 2 zones. Alexandra Miroslav just struggling to go up for that jumper. I think struggling with her skin slightly. And Annick giving everything she's got to boulder 4. 1 top and 2 zones on reflection is a very good result. Could have been 2 tops, maybe should have been. She was so close on number 2. But that's a pretty good score. Mia Krampel now, the latest climber to begin their rotation. And Evgenia Kazbekova comes back out, Dinu comes back out, I'm Mori as well.
Mia Krampel 19th after the speed element of this competition. Has got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, she does. Can make up some ground in the next two disciplines, but her weakness of speed climbing really costing her already in the combined. You don't want to be playing catch up if you can help it.
In this combined format with 3 disciplines, you need to be really good in 2 and you may be able to get away with being okay in the 3rd.
Yeah, makes life very difficult to get away with being 19th though. Aimori, much slower than most climbers we've seen so far on this boulder, completely different method, really hugging that first black volume. At some stage we'll have to commit to some sort of movement up with the right hand.
Yeah, the left-hand side of that volume, where she was just compressing, is just not quite as good as she wanted there.
Here's Mia Krampel. Evgenia Kazbekova in the background.
Relatively easily establishing the right foot against the left foot, double toe hooks. Trying something a little bit different.
Just 3 minutes left, and then Miho Nanaka will be the next climber to get underway. Then it will be for Taba Ito, Shauna Koksu, Kyo Noguchi and Yanya Gamba, 3 Japanese climbers in the last 5. Dinu on number 3, Mia Krampel going again on number 1.
Mia really got that right foot in the right position there, but doesn't seem to be completely trusting it. Just isn't able to be able to pull it. You can see it's just the right leg just twisting a little bit, just really not getting the rubber in contact with those toe hooks. She's got the perfect sequence, just something doesn't seem to be quite locking into position there for Mia. Kenya really struggling on the jump, really surprisingly on women's 2. You really would have thought she would come out flying up these boulders.
Yeah, it makes you realise, we saw Petra Klinger, and it was no slight on Petra, but the way she crushed the boulders, I thought, right, we might have 5 or 6 people getting 4 tops, but her performance is looking more impressive as the minutes tick by here.
Yeah, with only 2 tops so far on women's number 1, I absolutely have to agree. The emotional roller coaster that is this format of bouldering.
This is a completely different method from Dinu, and it'd be one thing, I think, to leave yourself up, it'd be another to get stood up, but yeah, I've just watched her, she's decided against trying that method again. Here goes Evgenia.
With that jump out, everybody has to do it off the left toe hook, you would imagine, because of the way how sloping the starting jug is on that sequence. Mia Krampel does get through the toe hooks now. Can she find this big rollover move, or will she go for the toe hook? Saw Petra putting her left foot where the right foot is. Mia Krampel really locked in. Looks like she's going for some big drop knee. Slowly fades out on the right arm though. So much hesitation through that sequence. Seconds left. Aimori does get established on the zone hold.
Yeah, still work to be done here. It's quite a big committing move up to the top. She's got 15 seconds to do it. This is it for Aimori. Won't find herself back up here. This to make it 2 tops from the round. Got number 3 done. Nothing else on any of the other boulders. Can she find a way? The clock is ticking away. And she went, and I think would have been timed out, but either way, couldn't hang on to it.
Interestingly there, nothing for Evgenia Kazbekova either. No tops out of 2 boulders for her.
Miho Nunaka had a really bad start to the speed climbing with a fall, but more than made amends, went very quickly when she did get a clean run. She's put herself in a strong position. Here she goes, no lack of confidence. Launches straight into it. Still got heavy taping on that left shoulder, but it's not holding her back, it would seem, at this stage. Miho, the 2018 World Cup season champion, vastly strong boulderer, absolutely crushing this boulder so far, even able to chalk up.
That's an interesting hand sequence through that lower invert section, really flicks up and full crimps the right hand. Miho on her flash attempt here, really putting a big fight and goes for this toe hook. It's the first time we've seen somebody establish the right toe. And that go again move. It's a cool move if it works.
Yeah, well, wow, Petra flashing that really is something else. Let's have another look at Miho, went with the right hand.
Yeah, goes right toe. As she goes up with the right hand, she has to release the left hand, so it's a one-handed catch in the end. It seems like if you're strong enough on the right hand to really crimp down and roll over, that is the most basic way to go, but it is basic raw power.
Luchka Rakovic now trying again on number 4. It's causing a lot of problems, that move. When you're underneath the boulders, as we were earlier, it doesn't look too tricky. It looks a relatively inadvertent move, but when the climbers are getting there, it's causing all sorts of problems.
Yeah, I think because there's multiple ways that you can potentially do it as well. So every time you have a go, you're like, oh, is that the way? I did get quite close. Maybe I should try something else. Maybe I shouldn't. Every time it's so hard to decide on what the best method is going to be in the time that you have left. So it's constant calculations. Every time you stand back on the mats, trying to figure out what it is that went wrong, what you could do differently. Let's see what method Luchka uses this time. Just going for the double to the zone. We have seen that work. We've also seen hitting the zone with the right hand and flipping down with the left hand also work. Miho then, this is the big moment.
Here she goes again, Miho. Which method will she use? She really didn't struggle at all with what are some very burly lower moves.
Yeah, cleanly through that section, didn't use the same hand sequence at all, made it much simpler for her this time. So looks like she's going to go for the same flick up.
Goes again with the right hand, but also brings the left to join it. Clearly favoured going right hand first. Made it work by bringing the left up a split second later and finds the top. Had to work for that one, Miho.
It's good to see that method actually working the way she did it at the end. She made it look pretty good. She still ended up doubling for the big slopey jug in the middle of the wall. That's the penultimate hold. Let's have another look. This is just after the top. Just after the hard move, I should say. At the top of the wall. Good reading there for Miho. Really made some improvements on the initial section after the first go. Got cleanly through the inverted section. That time much more efficiently. Stuck to the same method, but doubled to the jug.
Right, Luchka back up here. Look at this hard move to the zone. I was looking for a knee bar. The problem is the wall's overhanging and it's so tenuous, that right foothold. Shan cert now. Looking firmly in control on number 2. Just needs to lever herself out from underneath there and the top should beckon. Plenty of time left. She finds a way to get the job done.
First top for Shan.
Futaba Ito, the 4th to last climber out. She's underway. It's Mia Krampel on number 2, Evgenia Kazbekova on number 3, and Dinu on number 4. Now then, what can Futaba do here?
Yeah.
Such a fierce battle amongst the Japanese women for those 2 Olympic slots.
Finishing 4th, seeded 4th after the speed as well. So if Futaba can have a good round of boulders, I think she's going to be pretty tricky to catch up with in the lead.
Not this time for Futaba. Evgenia out on the slab. She's scoreless up until now, Evgenia Kazbekova.
Be interesting to see what sort of condition she gets on here, because she's an absolute queen on the slab seemingly this season. She just easily breezes to the top.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be much celebration though, because the first 2 boulders came and went without even securing a zone on either. So you'd expect her to do the slab. So Futaba going again. Oh, and the right foot just gave way.
Yeah, we've seen that foot slip on the right foot quite a few times now. Miho's method was going off of the lower left foot.
When you've got all that lateral force through the knee, it's horrible when the foot just pops like that.
Yeah, usually a fair amount of skin is usually lost on the shin in the process. Futaba looking super relaxed at the moment though.
Mia, as it stands, not getting it done on number 2, managed to get a zone on number 1.
Futaba opting not to use that black screw underneath at all. I thought that makes it quite a bit harder to get your toes up, but she really doesn't seem to be struggling with that section. Every time the climber gets through that section, once they've figured it out, it seems to be quicker and quicker. It's all about the right foot now though. You can see the way that she puts the power down there. She just drops the knee really slightly, goes onto the outside edge of her right shoe.
So Mia Krampel taking brushing matters into her own hands. Futaba Ito down on the mats. Dinu, who, let's have a look at her score, currently hasn't picked up a zone or a top, so I'm sure we'll be glad of something here. She will become the first climber to complete her rotation without picking up anything as of yet. 1 minute 22 to do something about that.
Futaba Ito then, what can she do? Possibly her last attempt.
Futaba going feet first. What will the right foot stick? That is the question. Slightly different positioning here.
Is that drop knee?
Oh, it looks so uncomfortable. But she makes it work. Top would be massive here. Her friend and rival for one of the Olympic spots, Miho Nanaka, found a top, and I think with 30 seconds to go, Futaba Ito is going to do the same. That's
huge.
Massive for Futaba.
Absolutely massive moment. Look at the smile on the face as he runs off. Can't quite believe it. It really didn't look like it was going to happen at all there. Every time she did that big drop knee off the right-hand volume, it just looked so unlikely that her foot would stick. Ended up with a really nice rollover, little double tap on the right-hand volume as well. Again, not using that foothold. Only Miho we've seen use that successfully. Big moment.
Oh, this is a massive moment. Olympic selection is going to be available to the top 7. It can only take 2 per country, and Futaba did not want to lose an inch to Miho Nanaka. Shauna Coxey now is out on the mats. There she is, far left. We're going left to right here in Hachioji. Immediately to her right is Miho Nanaka, then Cheonse, and then Alessandra Miroslav, the two-time Speed World Champion, is far right on boulder number 4.
Yeah, Shauna 14th after the speed. She's really going to need a low score here if she wants to really get into a good seeding position going into the lead.
So here's Cheonse trying to wrestle her way on top of that blue volume. Yeah, Shauna didn't manage to dip under 10 seconds, as you say, Mike, which she's capable of doing on a speed wall. I think might have been slightly frustrated with how the speed climbing panned out. What can Sert do? Trying to get stood up on this slab. There's Miroslav closest to the camera.
Full one-legged press there. Oh, wobbles off after all that hard work. Basically got it done. Relaxed slightly and then fell off. Shauna easily through. Didn't get to see it unfortunately, but easily through the inverted section. See the way that it keeps the knee open. Doesn't drop it like we saw for Fataba. Easily up to the zone hold now. Looks like she's going to go for the full power rollover. Easily through. Good start here for Shauna with just 3 minutes 24 still remaining on the clock.
That is exactly what she needed. As I said, didn't go quite as well as she can on the speed wall. But a very quick top of number 1.
Miho, interestingly, as we just see the replay of Shauna there, struggling a little bit on the jump across on women's number 2.
That is the thing with bouldering. You can get off to a good start, pat yourself on the back, and then suddenly you start from scratch again with another 5 minutes and another boulder to solve.
Well, I think that's, as an athlete, even if you have a bad boulder, you can do the absolute opposite and it can work for you. Have a bad boulder, forget that, you can't do anything more about that, and take a new challenge on boulders 2, 3 and 4. It's really easy though to go back to the isolation zone and really overthink about how everybody else is doing what you could have done, especially if you've just fallen off a top, like a top move or something like that. The best climbers are those who really just focus on the individual challenge at hand, one boulder at a time.
Now she gets the jump done. Miho Nanaka, we're sticking with Cheon, so we could be about to see 2 tops in very quick succession. Can Sert do her bit and find a way to the top of this slab? Chooses to go with the right hand and looking pretty solid. Claims the top, Miho Nanaka now. This is really the last thing you want to see when you've got injured shoulders. You can see heavy strapping on that left shoulder and just cannot take it and instantly holds it. But as I said earlier, anytime your hands are above your head is already a weak position. And anytime the hands are straight above the head and your palm is facing out, that's about as weak as it gets, and it's just the last thing she wanted. You can see straight away Miho wanting to stretch that shoulder.
Yeah, she actually had a foot sequence, didn't really help her in that position either, so maybe with a little bit of reflection she might better take a little bit of strain out the shoulders just by adjusting the feet.
As we said, she got off to a good start on number 1, but you have to instantly forget that. It's an interesting point you make, Mike.
Not an easy one, actually.
No, it's not easy for me to say. It is a good point you make, that sometimes it can be easier to forget a bad boulder than to forget a good one.
Miho then left foot straight out this time. Can she put the force through the shoulders that she needs to do without wrecking herself in the process? Instantly comes down, probably wisely.
Yeah, and isn't going to try again. You could see as soon as she went for that the first time, there wasn't the strength there, and then she tried the second time, and I get the impression, had one look at the move and instantly felt that it wasn't the right thing to do. And Alexandra Miroslav calls it a day as well. No score for her, so Dinu and Alexandra Miroslav end up scoreless.
How frustrating it must be for Miho and her team. Just such a dominant force for the last few seasons. Then to come out and get these injuries just at the biggest moment in your career is heartbreaking, really.
Yeah, it really is. It's denying us seeing the best of Miho Nanaka as well. That's one of the reasons it's so frustrating. Akio Noguchi now strolls out onto the stage without a care in the world. 66 World Cup medals and 6 World Championship medals. Knows her way around a bouldering wall. 9.391, pretty decent in the speed. Definitely, I'd imagine would be pretty keen to dip under 9 seconds as the Olympics approaches, but probably not unhappy with how the speed went. And here she is in the boulder, the discipline for which she is best known. Futaba Ito is climbing again, and Mia Krampel is out on number 3, and Evgenia Kazbakova's on number 4.
Futaba just had a look at that jump by releasing the left toe first. So either she just released it to try and jump, or it just slipped, not 100% sure. No tops for her so far, just the one zone in 4 attempts on that boulder number 2. Looking a lot more comfortable on boulder number 3 though. That's definitely the boulder that's seeing the most action. Tops coming thick and fast there. Kyo, now first real look at her. Futaba, you can just see in the background as well, just struggling with this jump at the moment. Now gets it done, just a shot on the right hand side as we focus on the legend Akio Noguchi. No issues on the right foot for her. She's looking to see if there's a flip available for the left hand. It's a really sort of rounded crimp, that zone hold. So, just slips off. It was the right foot that just slipped actually. She's looking for a stand-up position off of the left toe.
That is a very happy Futaba Ito, and as well she might be happy.
Yeah, right hand landed plumb in the middle of that jug. No coordination issues with where to hit it above the blocker. Just pushes out the right hand so easily. She looked really comfortable in that sort of awkward shoulder position.
Yeah, Mike, she's already the highest ranked Japanese climber, and she's only done 2 boulders. So this is exactly the performance Futaba Ito needed. Evgenia Kazbekova now. I actually just disappeared for 1 minute there to have a word with Vita Lucan, ask how the boulders were, and she said she's very frustrated, really feels she could have got it done on number 2, and it looks, she said it looks easy now, I'm looking back at it, but it obviously didn't feel it. Remember, she got the zone but then couldn't get that really powerful shoulder move where you put the left hand up. Akio Noguchi, perhaps surprisingly, not getting it done on number 1.
Yeah, considering how easily Shauna made this boulder look just a few climbers before her. She just slipped last time actually, just couldn't, she easily did the moves but couldn't quite find the right method to get up into this penultimate hold.
She is one of the taller climbers, Akio, so this move here where you squashed in, there's a lot of limb to fit in, but she makes it work, managed to distract herself and then finds the top easily enough.
Love that calculation that happens in climbing. You could see her just thinking for all the different options whilst trying to think quick enough to not fade out on the right arm. So good to see that level of ability just to be able to look around and instantly calculate all of the available options, make a quick fire decision, jump over the 2 hands.
Evgenia Kazbekova is still struggling on number 4. I think you could certainly argue she's been the biggest casualty of this round. Her and Nanako Kura, both of whom were in the boulder final earlier this week in the World Championship, and both of whom have really struggled here on a set of boulders that Petra Klinger absolutely stormed through. So I think, yeah, Evgenia, one of the climbers who will be very, very disappointed with this round.
It would be fascinating to talk to Evgenia, you know, possibly not on the live stream because she's had a bit of a disastrous round, but just to see what happened there really is what's happened this week. She's gone from looking really strong in multiple disciplines to really struggling in multiple disciplines.
Stage empty very briefly as we await the arrival of Janja Garmbret, the last climber to start her rotation, the favourite for this competition. look at this minimalist approach. We see Adam Ondra come out with enough kit to go on a climbing holiday. Yanya's just got her short bag, shoes already on. Ready to go. Shauna Coxey back out, Miho Nanaka back out, and Cheon Sir. Interestingly enough, by pure coincidence, the winners of the last 3 Boulder World Cup overall titles, all next to each other, Yanya, Shauna and Miho.
It's interesting watching the hands there. Yanya's just trying to figure out which method, left and right, left and right. I was about to say looks like she's going to prefer the wrong hand, but...
Yeah, that would have been really unusual, because when you're on the stage, we had a quick look at the boulder, obviously couldn't do the first move naturally, but it seems very obvious that the right hand would go where Yanya ended up putting it. Interesting that she considered putting it the other way. Miho, again, will not be delighted, you would imagine, at the sight of rolling over onto the left shoulder again. At least this time there isn't anything like the same power required. Shauna going well on number 2, Yanya going well on number 3, Miho going well on number 3, excuse me, Yanya going well on number 1.
Miho just trying the conventional cross-through method, avoiding the double shoulders probably wisely. Just needs to pivot on that left foot slightly. There it goes.
Just to let you know, we had tops on number 1 and 2 by Yanya and Shauna respectively. Let's stick with Miho. And there it is, needed that Miho. Good to get a replay of both Yanya and Shauna, I'm told. Presumably at some stage during this rotation.
I think Miho will be pretty happy to get through that boulder without causing any further damage, to be honest. One more boulder to go for her.
This was Yanya on number 1, dispatched. Almost dismissive slightly, Yanya's on some boulders, just walks out, tops it, shrugs his shoulders and walks back inside. The same boulder that stopped some of the best climbers in the world, and she had to work for it, as you can see.
Yeah,
we didn't see her on screen. Decided to just ignore that big triangular volume out to the right.
Yeah, we've only seen one climber actually use that, so it's an interesting decision to put that out there from the route setters. But yeah, Yanya is virtually an instant replay of Akio Noguchi there as well. Gets the right hand on that crimped zone hold, just crimps it for everything it's worth, with the thumb locked over the fingers, and then has a really good search around for a good 5 seconds before deciding just to flick for the next hold.
I think the big difference between Yanya and Akio was Yanya got it done first go, and that could come back to be very useful indeed.
Yeah, the old saying, if in doubt, jump it out. Seems to work for Akio and Yanya there. Lots of doubt as to what to do with the feet, and in the end just bash for it. This is Shauna and her top. This was a flash for Shauna as well. Searched on the underside of that little blocker hole just to see if there's any available options there, but didn't stick with that too long. As soon as she gets that right foot up, push the right arm, keep pushing, straighten it out, get the foot to join it, and easily cruise to the end. Shauna, the standout athlete so far in this bouldering round. 2 flashes for her. Petra Klinger, actually, to be fair to her. 3 flashes before the final boulder. Petra Klinger just 4 tops in 6 attempts, 4 zones in 6 attempts.
Shauna Coxey, I should say, by the way, as you can see the scores on the right there. Oh, as we saw Cheon Sir getting close on that. Shauna Coxey is storming through this round. 2 flashes already, making amends for a not disastrous speed round. But
yeah, you'd have to say Petra is really the one who's kind of the one to catch at the moment. Seeded 8th after the speed, currently sitting 1st in the boulder. Overall score of 8 at this stage in the competition. 1 times 8.
Does make life a lot easier for us when someone can get a 1. Really do approve of that. Kyo Noguchi comes out on her own from that left-hand door. Next to her for Tabarito, and then right again, Mia Krampel.
Futaba then a boulder number 3, 2 tops already to her name. Just struggling to get into the mantle position straight away. Such a different type of strength required for mantles. Looks like she's going to try the heel.
Yeah, we talked about as well, Mike, about climbers having a good boulder and needing to forget it. For Tabarito has been great so far, but definitely needs to find a top on number 3. It's been topped almost universally. Yeah, a couple of failures on that one.
Yeah, she's just trying to get the foot established at the moment with enough contact that it's worth trying to stand up. Now just pirouetting around on that one locked off arm. Locked in the straight position now. She seems to have found a more comfortable position actually on the right hand side. Most people would have preferred to be on the left. As you stand up, just careful not to relax and wobble off. Kyo struggling at the moment on the jump on number 2. Big toe hook release jump. Now Futaba's fully established on the slab.
Here she goes for Taba. 3 tops confirmed now. What a day she's having. Kyo Noguchi, somewhat surprisingly, landing very awkwardly on the big jump. Horrible to land like that on your foot when you're blind and you can't really place the foot. You just land on top of it however it ends up. Kyo will try again now. Futaba Ito moves up into 4th in the provisional rankings, still with a boulder to go. Now she gets it done. Chooses to get the right heel in place. Is that just to get a rest, or is she going to try and do it that way? I think, yes, drops it back down, goes up with the left hand. She could do with getting the left foot out wide and the right foot where her left is. But for whatever reason, either hasn't read that, now she has. For the briefest second, I thought Kyo Noguchi had made a mistake in her movement. How dare I doubt her?
Have to fight pretty hard here, Kyo.
Yeah, she's been rewarded though. It's the same on both of the first 2 boulders. Had a battle on her hands.
Always gets it going.
Yeah. One minute 20 and Mia Krampel, the only climber still on stage. This is the replay of a Kyo.
Yeah, it was the right foot. She didn't seem to get it right in the sweet spot of that big yellow jug. It was right on the edge. You can see her really having to pull close into the wall off that undercut blue hole just to wiggle the foot closer and closer to the sweet spot.
Mia Krampel now 45 seconds for her to find something. The left foot's giving way now. Yeah, Mia could really do with something. 1 top and 2 zones.
Yeah, with again, yeah, and for Mia, you really do wonder how much this week has taken out of them. They do look tired out there.
Had a complete rest day the day before yesterday.
So much emotional roller coastering going on here as well. With Mia, she did so well in the lead. It's like the biggest moment of her life, and then somehow to think, well, I can't just go home and celebrate. You've got to actually reset and get ready for another big battle. No time to rest in the moment.
Remember, the climbers have got a rest day tomorrow while we have men's qualification. Women's final will then be on Tuesday and men's final on Wednesday. So after the qualifying day, the climbers do have a complete rest. Here's Elana Young. Had to work a little bit on number one, had to think about the movement, but never really looked in any doubt. Neither does the jump. What can she do in this shoulder move? Again, having to think about it, thinking a bit like Akio about putting the foot up. I can't imagine it would make it easier to go with the heel hook on the right. I think it probably, Anya seems to like the look of it. I would never say she couldn't do something. And it didn't look like the most comfortable way of doing it. Somehow got to extract the foot. But it works for Yanya.
Brutal method. So hard on the shoulders. You can see how bent her left arm was when she's really tucked into that position. Proves that it is possible to go that way, though.
As proved, yeah. I mean,
I think Yana can do it any way she wants, really, to be honest.
She'll probably go feet first, to be honest. Shauna Coxey is going pretty well on number 3 as we cut across to join her. Mihona Naka just immediately over to her right on number 4. Crowd cheering, by the way, for Mihona Naka. She's safely secured the zone.
Shauna deciding to go into the sort of double Gaston method. Didn't look too happy with the crossover with the right hand, but opts for this method. It does seem to be slightly easier.
Top for Mihona Naka on number 4, and a top for Shauna Coxey on number 3. Let's just confirm the attempts as they come through. Pretty sure that was Shauna's first go. How many goes did Mihona Naka take? That's the hold that Mihona Naka just latched on number 4. Let's have a look how she got there. This was out to the zone. Crowd really responded to that. And we were watching Shauna on the screen. I had one eye on Miho from here live in our commentary position. And didn't look overly troubled, just had to set for that top move. Looked pretty solid once she got there. Scores just a little slower to update than they have been at times. And there is the wall. So 2 minutes to go until the next rotation begins. If you are just tuning in, welcome to Japan. We've been here all week for the IFSC World Championships, and now we are here for the IFSC Combined World Championships. The top 7 ranked climbers here in the combined event will be put forward for Olympic selection, but with the asterisk that each country can only take 2 climbers. So you may not need to finish in the top 7 to get one of those 7 spots. That's how they stand in the bouldering right now. We had the speed earlier on this morning, but as it stands, Petra Klinger, who just walked past us with a big smile on her face, I can see why, the only climber with 4 tops so far. Jessie Piltz, who hasn't always quite looked herself this year, 3 tops, 4 zones, looking really good. Julia Shanodi, 3 tops for her as well. Futaba Ito, 3 tops, with a boulder still to go, and Mihona Naka 2 tops and 4 zones having completed her rotation. You can see there Shauna Coxey and Elana Young closing in on a pretty good score already with 2 tops each. Shauna with the zone as well. And Akio Noguchi also with 2 tops still to complete her rotation. Alexandra Miroslav and Dinu, the only climbers not to record a score. Evgenia Kazbekova will be bitterly disappointed with 18th in the bouldering, I'm sure. Very interesting round.
さあその中でのボルダリングの競技の予選各課題5分間で行っています。ベルトコンベア方式という形式で各選手は5分間の競技と5分間の休憩を交互に繰り返し、予選は4課題の競技を行っています。
Very pleased to say that making the mistake of walking past the commentary box and making eye contact and therefore getting beckoned over. Elana Yip, Elana, enjoyed watching you climb. 2 tops, your reflections on the round?
I really like the second boulder. Couldn't, I don't know, figure out the first boulder or the fourth boulder really. It was a mix. I thought the second and third boulders were pretty easy, and the first and fourth were pretty hard. Yeah, but it was fun.
And we saw, as we watch Akio Noguchi and Futaba Ito getting underway, we saw you on the speed wall earlier on, a big smile on your face. You look like you're thoroughly enjoying this experience. It must be great to be in a combined championship, and who knows where you might finish.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm having a great time. It was my goal for this event to be able to qualify for this this combined top 20 portion. So I'm just happy to be here.
And I mean, does part of you dream about how you might do here, or do you just remind yourself that the goal was to get here and just do the best you can? Yeah,
do the best I can. Of course, you know, I'd like to dream, but you know, right now I'm not having the greatest of the two rounds. But it's a great experience for sure. I've never actually done all three disciplines in a single day.
And have you been finding the lead so far? How did you go in the main World Championships earlier on in the week?
Not amazing. I came 38th, but I had some good climbs for me. I managed to figure out headspace a little bit better than I have in previous World Cups, so, you know, making progress.
Okay, well, as I say, we could see on the speed wall that you were having fun and happy to be here, and it was a pleasure to watch you. Good job on the two tops, and good luck on the route. Thank you for calling in and having a word with us.
Yeah, no worries. Anytime.
Always interested to hear from a climber live, fresh from the wall. Akio Noguchi now, I think, could be about to find the top on number 3. Futaba have found nothing on number 4, and Akio falls going for the top move. Most climbers who've gone for that top move, albeit they've looked slightly shaky, have generally brought it home. Mike, thanks for giving up your headset. Good to hear from Elana. I think she said the goal was to make this combined World Championship. She's done that. I think a hint of disappointment at how the bouldering went. But
it's good to dream. It's good to keep the kind of fight alive, the dream alive, I think.
Absolutely. There's a top for Futaba Ito, and that is 4 tops for her. She's going to actually be ranked below Petra Klinger on attempts. Yeah, 12 attempts to get her 4 tops versus Petra's 6 attempts. But an excellent day for her in this, what is looking to be a very fierce fight for the 2 Japanese slots. As it stands, excuse me, in the combined rankings, Futaba and Petra would both have a score of 8, but obviously it will all change as all the scores come in, so we won't get too carried away. But yeah, excellent day from both of them. Now Akio hasn't really cruised any of the boulders, but she's managed to find a way, because that's what Akio Noguchi does. Can she find a way on number 3?
Yeah, she's really putting the local crowd through it here a little bit. Big efforts on her 2 tops already, 7 attempts to get to those 2 tops. Certainly going to be a couple of attempts here as well. It's a big right foot slip on this really awful sort of little jib that's in there at the moment. She's going to try something completely different. Akio always thinking, looks like she's going to try for the right heel method. Now goes back down to the right toe. 100% on this move then. This time stands into it.
And it actually ended up reasonably comfortable. I think, to be honest, Mike, we've seen what Akio Noguchi's all about in this bouldering round, because none of the boulders she's cruised up. She's had to make progress on all of them, but she is, you described her as a master of movement, and I can do no better. She just learns boulders so quickly. She'll try a method, instantly decide whether that's the way to go or whether to write it off and try something new. And has really made progress on every boulder and been rewarded every time.
I think when you're so many years in the game like that, it's you know all the tricks in the book by that stage. You know, you very rarely come across a movement that you're just completely new to. Just the tactics, the timing, everything is in your favour.
So attempts currently separating our top 2. Yanya Garnbrett eager to get on with it, almost barges the woman who's tasked with holding her back. So Yanya, the last climber on number 3, it's been topped by everybody apart from Nanako Kura, Alexandra Miroslav and Dinu. So a huge surprise if Yanya wasn't able to top it. A flash would certainly be very nice because attempts already separating the top 2.
Yeah, comfortably in and out of the mantle position. We call it the frog, the double leg stand up.
Yeah, attempt number 1 for Yanya. Shauna is on number 4 immediately to her right. I'll keep you up to date if she makes any progress towards a zone or a top. And Yanya levering up on the right foot, just had to make a small readjustment on the right hand and actually comes back down. Chooses to do the foot swap, which didn't look like the easiest method. And Yanya needs to keep concentrating here. That's how you do it. Finds the top. Shauna's already secured the zone and is on the last move of Boulder 4.
Shauna 3 flashes so far. Could this be 4? Perfect round for Shauna Coxey.
That is a dream round for Shauna Coxey. 4 boulders, 4 flashes. As it stands, Yanya Garnbrett could match Shauna's achievement, but obviously you can't do any better than 4 flashes. And we catch a glimpse of Shauna as she walks off, and with a big smile on her face. What a round from her. Not had the easiest year and a half with injuries, but very much back on form. 4 flashes moves her into first place. Should point out, by the way, if climbers are tied on a score in a certain discipline, so if, for example, Shauna and Yanya, if it were to happen, ended up with 4 flashes, they would be tied in first place. In terms of ranking points, they would get 1.5 each. So they don't take the higher or the lower score, they add the scores together and divide them. So they'd get, their score would be 1.5 from bouldering. So there you can see it, Shauna Coxey leading the way. Akiyo Noguchi can't actually win this round because she's used up a few attempts, but Yanya could tie for first place with Shauna and would get 1.5 in the ranking points. So that's where they stand right now. Pretty fascinating so far. Look at that top order, it's boulderer, 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 but with a couple of boulders struggling. I'm thinking about Evgenia Kazbekova, Julia Chanodi, actually 3 tops, a pretty good score, but would have hoped for a lot more. Mia Krampel certainly would have hoped for more, as would Nanako Kura. And yeah, really beginning to take shape, this combined qualification.
Yeah, we said quite close to the start of the round, as the boulders were kind of opened up, a few people started to find tops, so you might see quite a few people with those 4 tops. 3 or 4 of them at the moment. I think it's 3. Yeah, 3 climbers. Petra, Shauna and Futaba all with those 4 tops. Yanya quite likely potentially to join in. I have to say, Yanya on that slab was ridiculous in many ways. She just fell up it. Every time that she went for a move, nah, don't like it. Fall off a little bit, carry on again. Trying to, nah, that's not quite right. Just sort of half fall off and then slowly, oh, that'll do. I'll just stop it now.
Yeah, and I think the difference you see is a lot of climbers realise they've got the method wrong, fall off and have another go. Yanya realises she's got the method wrong but can correct it without falling off. And if you can correct your mistakes without falling off, that is a rather useful skill to have in climbing.
Yeah, she just has this sort of ability to stay on the wall. Her confidence in her footwork is so high. Even when she pushed that top hold, she had the right foot kind of right down the side of that yellow hold, and she knew it wasn't right, but she thought it should go anyway, because she just seems to have these like Velcro rubber that sticks to every single foothold she puts her foot on. She really just climbs with this completely like no stress technique that she just kind of just goes, I'll just go, it doesn't feel right, I'll just go anyway.
And Shauna Coxey as well. What a performance from her. 4 flashes. We haven't seen her in that many World Cups. She's really been measuring her energy and aiming to peak for these championships, and she certainly seems to have done that.
Yeah, and Shauna's style is quite in contrast to Yanya's in many ways. It's much more secure. She thinks things through very carefully, and you see every time she goes for an attempt, she sticks to the method that she's considered beforehand. She really just kind of lock it in and go really strong through every hold, whereas Yanya really kind of flies around.
So we will have Akio Noguchi on her own, as she is the second to last climber. So there's no one alongside her. 5 minutes begins. We've mentioned Akio quite a few times today. 3 tops so far, excuse me, getting slightly ahead of herself. Took her 9 attempts to get them. She's looked like she's had to work for the round a little bit more than, say, Shauna, Yanya, Petra, but keeps finding a way.
What's massively important about that, those more attempts that she's had to put in, she's had to have a pretty big fight this bowling round, is what that takes out of her going into the lead competition. Every ounce of skin and energy surely is important here.
Yeah, I mean, if you think back, it's actually a while since we saw it in action, but if you think back to boulder number 1, she took 3 attempts on that, and that was a brutally physical boulder. So it's a good point you make, Mike. Right, what can she do here? Pretty traditional, not too many tricks here, this boulder. You wouldn't imagine Akio would struggle too much with it, no problem at all up to the zone.
Yeah, that was a nice method, tapping up with the right hand for the zone and flipping down the left, controlling the swing with a little kind of flag underneath with the left foot. Now she's just got to finish it off, kind of end quickly. This competition would be good for her, and falls again. Just a foot slip, she looks so comfortable again, he's going to have to try hard. Let's have another look. You see the right hand just sliding quite a lot there. Went for the match as she was kind of tapping in around the corners, slid down the volume.
Yeah, it's been really interesting watching Akio in this round. Hasn't come out Shauna style and just smashed away through the boulders. Had to work for every single one, and yet keeps finding a way. Keeps finding a way to top them, which is a great skill. But it is actually going to move her down the rankings slightly. The fact that she's taken so many attempts. I'm looking at the number of attempts, including that attempt there. This will be attempt number 11. And so if she gets it done this time, she'll actually move ahead of Futaba Ito. If she uses a few more attempts, she could end up down in 4th, and that might well become 5th by the time Yanya Gambret's done. So we said relatively early on in the round when we saw Petra, we might see 5 or 6 climbers with 4 tops. I think that prediction, unusually from Mike and myself, might actually come true.
We never put money on it because we would normally lose the money, but I feel like we should have today.
Yeah, but very rarely. Yeah, I'd always be happy to put someone else's money on it, but never my own. But I think that could end up being about spot on. Akio Noguchi, here she goes. I think this would. That would have probably put her in 4th.
Yeah, at the moment she's really not happy on that big fiberglass, the green one, the penultimate volume on that route. That time she established quite well on the right foot. She's trying to turn around the corner. Just seems to be sliding quite a lot on that top. Interestingly, she hasn't brushed it or asked for it to be brushed.
And also interestingly, that she's normally so focused, and you can see her here sitting on the mat, seemingly not a care in the world, asking the crowd for a little bit of help when she had that last attempt.
Pretty big moment here.
Yeah, this could be huge for Akio Noguchi. Picked up a silver medal in the World Championship bouldering earlier in the week, but right now, against a non-specialist bouldering field, is lingering down in 6th. Definitely needs to get up there. Here she goes, 1 minute to go. She'd have time for another attempt, but would she have the energy? Just can't seem to get comfortable. Now she might be all right. And you can see Akio Noguchi's ability to move her body and adjust as she moves.
Yeah, that time she just dropped her right knee a little bit so she could get her left leg up to the zone, holding much more control.
It's going to be tight actually on attempts with Futaba for whether that moves Akio into 3rd or 4th. She moves up actually on attempts to zone, which is quite amazing really. So 4 tops for Akio Noguchi, ends up 3rd. Given how well Yanya Gambret's climbing right now, that's likely to become 4th, but nothing guaranteed, of course.
Yeah, the performance of the day really for someone who had to fight and do well was Petra. 4 tops, 6 attempts, 4 zones in 6 attempts.
Now then, will Yanya once again barge our poor volunteer out the way. Here she comes, looks like she wants to get on with this. 3 flashes so far, could share first place in the bouldering with Shauna Coxey. Futaba Ito walks past us looking pretty happy with her day's work, and I can't blame her. Currently 4th with 4 tops, but crucially it required 12 attempts to get them.
And crucially 2nd in the overall rankings for the combined before going into the lead.
As it stands. Could be a few verbal asterisks coming from Mike and I today. A mini Yanya swing, we should say, where the foot fires out behind her.
Yeah, Yanya just seems to be finding a different technique on these bowls to everybody else so far today.
So, and that means Shauna will finish top of the round because Yanya's not going to finish with 4 flashes.
I just feel like Yanya, mentally, she doesn't seem to be quite switched on at the moment in the bouldering. That sounds ridiculous considering how well she's doing in the round, but she doesn't look like she's got 100% focus on every time that she pulls on.
Well, we've occasionally seen it with Yanya. I mean, if you've got to take her on, you've got to try and look for some sort of weakness, and I suppose if we were to identify one, I think sometimes if the boulders aren't providing her with an enormous challenge, she does switch off slightly, and then a boulder can challenge her that if she was absolutely dialed in focus, maybe wouldn't provide her with such a challenge. Sometimes feels like she sometimes needs to go, oh right, I need to try hard here, okay, I'll try hard. So if she can find a top here, which she can, she will end up with a ranking of 2th in the boulder. It would have been 1.5 if she could have matched Shauna's score. Let's see.
It's just ridiculous watching Yanya really, because she did really need to try very hard. Those top moves, you can see as soon as she was in this position, it looked like she was going to jump straight away, and thought, oh, you know what, I better actually touch that green hold, and then just jumps anyway. Absolutely magical to watch.
As I say, Mike, it's not like she would have got 1 if she got it. She would have got 1.5, so it's only 0.5 of a ranking point. It's still a slight missed opportunity, a very minor one, but we are going on to the lead wall where we would expect, to put things mildly, recently crowned world champion Yanya to be relatively strong, but a slight weakness shown to the competition by Yanya, who of course was the runaway favourite for the overall combined title. Remember, actually all she needs to do is get into that top 8 to qualify for the final.
Yeah, interestingly, she didn't win the round of bouldering.
Yeah.
That's not happened for quite some time.
No, it's the first time it's happened here in Hachioji. She won every round in the bouldering and the main world championship.
2019 Hachioji Women's Combined Bouldering Qualification.
And that was how they finished. I have to say, big shout out to the route setters. They got a bit of criticism after the main world championship bouldering, but I feel like they got the level pretty spot on today. 5 in inverted commas bouldering specialists who ended up with 4 tops.
Yeah, all in different attempts, crucially.
Yeah, 3 climbers with 3 tops, handful of climbers, 5 with 2 tops, and everyone else getting 1 top apart from Alexandra Miroslav or Dinu, and that's how they stand in the rankings right now. Yanya Gambra and Shauna Coxey, after 2 events, leading the way with 14 ranking points. Yanya 7th in speed, 2nd in bouldering, 2 times 7 equals 14, and Shauna 14 times 1. What a fantastic performance in the bouldering for her, ends up on 14. Alexandra Miroslav still hanging on to 3rd place thanks to that very strong performance in the speed. And that's how they line up so far. And we mentioned earlier, Evgenia Kazbekova would have been hoping at least for a single fingers finish in the boulder. Is now going to be very hard pushed to make it through to that final 8. So we've got the lead to come for you this afternoon. Let's have a quick look at the highlights. But that, in the meantime, that's all from Mike and I. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you for the combined qualification lead later on this afternoon here in Hachioji, with so much to play for.
いやいや